Okay, let me see if we're live or not. Appears that we're live. Hello, what's up? How are you? There's so many times that I didn't do the live stream record videos. This past couple of days have been really difficult for me to conciliate my current job, the DJ job, and my normal and the videos here. But what is important is that we are here. So how are you? Let me disable the notifications in my desktop so we don't get any interruption. Wait a minute. Hello, hello. Okay. Okay. So let's go. The current goal here is to start testing on Netflix. Netflix bug bounty program. Don't know if you guys have ever looked into this bug bounty program. I'm sending the link in the description. And in the description or in the comments, let's take a look together and start our process. So let me get the actual screen here. Okay. Nice. So this is the program on HackerRun, the bug bounty program. What are the targets that are in scope in this program? Let me see. I believe Netflix has a massive scope, but a really difficult scope to refer to that. But we can start it anyway. Let me clear things first here. We don't actually test the bin application in these types of bug bounty live. It's just an illusion. Bro, Assassin is coded. You can take a look at my profile here. It's not an illusion, if you know what I mean. Oops. Let me get the profile in another tab. Okay, I changed my username. There it is. It's not a illusion. It happens. This is my profile. As you can see, I have some bug bounty reports here. Some reports are even undisclosed. So it's not impossible. It's not impossible. I believe that most people fail to achieve a real vulnerability on a bug bounty program, or fail to achieve something big in bug bounty because they are just looking for the bounty. They are just looking for easy money or things like that, and not really understanding technology, understanding how they find bugs or things like that. But take my word as advice. It's not impossible. You can find, but it's difficult. I'm not gonna lie that it is easy, that you will work for a couple of months and you'll get a pro, you'll find multiple vulnerabilities. It's really difficult to find something. Okay. Yeah. So let's take a look. The first thing I like to do when trying to start a new program is to, while I'm reading the scopes and other things, I like to add my RECON machine here, my RECON VPS, and get it to start finding all the subdomains of this platform for me, of this company for me. So that's the first thing I will do. I know that. Let me open my RECON folder, okay, and let me start a Netflix folder here. Okay, and I'll get the wildcards. I know that Netflix.com is a wildcard. I don't want to scan anything on this nflx.sco.net because it's same for me that it's just to serve static content on the domain. So I don't want to test anything that is just serving static content because it will not be useful in our hacking, in our bug bounty. We will just find some attachments and things like that, things that we cannot actually test. Netflix.com, there's already in our scope. Netflixvideo.com can be interesting, maybe has some videos or some video API, some movie API there. Okay. Let me see what can be more interesting here. Netflix image, the same thing, static content, I don't want to test that. Netflix text, static content, don't want to test that. Okay, Netflix.com. I believe it's that. I believe this is our main scope that we want to scan. So, okay, just two subdomains to avoid. That's a thing that I like to do. I don't like to actually scan a lot of websites. Oh, the audio is a bit low. Okay. Let me see if I can fix that. Okay. Let me put again here my arrow. Just a minute. Game. Okay. Is it better? Yeah. Let me know if it's better right now. If it's better than before. Okay. So continue. I don't like to test multiple things, multiple websites, because I know that most of these websites will not have anything interesting for me. As I said, the static content, most like in S3 bucket or things like that, will not have anything that is interesting for us to test. Will not have any actual applications for us to test. So my simple recon, basically, I like to run a subfinder and a domain list with my wildcards. I like to pass this -all flag here. So subfinder searches for potential subdomains in multiple sources, in all sources that it has available. And this -o is just to save our output into this subfinder.txt file. Okay. While this is running, another thing that I like to do a lot is to open my here exactly like this. I like to go to Google and do a quick Google search. So Google search, if you don't know what it is, maybe basically you can refine your search in Google by using some Google Docs technique. So you search for Google Docs. There is the, let me get a English version. So Google hacking, for example. We can use multiple flags to refine to refine the Google search engine results. So let me get the sheet here that will will have a lot of examples for us. The most basically that I like to use is the site. With the site, I can specifically search that particular site. So here we are looking just for Netflix.com results. Every result will only be linked to Netflix here. There won't be any result that will contain this text Netflix. Our results is in the Netflix subdomains. Okay. And there's many others here that are interesting for us. For example, I know that it won't return anything for me, but for example, I can search for extensions files. If I would like to find a PHP file, a PHP application, for example, I can search for files that ends with the extension PHP. Netflix Oculus don't use anything nowadays. PDFs, for example, will return only PDFs first, and this can be really useful if you're trying to discover something like credentials or secret documents leaked, for example. So what I'm trying to say is that you need to study a little bit about Google Dorking. Google Dorking can be really useful for us in this context to find new things, find new websites to test or new places to test targets. Well, my subfinder is still running here, not a problem. I like to take a look in the PDF files always, trying to see if I can find anything interesting. In this case, I don't believe there is anything interesting here, just support menus, just support documents, and nothing actually useful for us. Let me see if I can get a enthusiast file here. No one exists. A extension.do. Do is the extension used for I forgot the word actually, but it's a really good extension that you can find. Java files won't be found here either. So what we can do? A text file maybe, just robots.txt, nothing useful for us. Okay, a lot of robots.txt and the secret.txt, but nothing actually useful for us. Let's take a look if we can find any other interesting subdomains here. So I like to filter. I can filter any subdomains, any words actually, using this dash and the string that I want to filter. I like to filter the www so we can remove all the main websites from the results. I can also see the scopes that the applications that says that it's not in scope here. I know that netflix.com is out of scope, so I can easily remove /RA. And I believe that that's in this subdomain. I don't want to take a look into any help file, any job file either. So let me remove here. Okay. I want to remove also the main application by netflix.com by removing this way. And I believe I'll have to remove the HTTP either. No, didn't work here. Maybe if I edit this way, yeah, won't work. But okay. Let me see if I can find anything interesting. I believe that most of the results here will be vinculated to the main application of netflix.com. Keyword netflix.com here, not something that I want to look. And let me jump pages. Also keyword, let me remove this keyword here. This is NFC. Something marketing here. Let me remove it also for our file, our search. And let's take a look if anything pops up. I believe nothing interesting we have here. Okay, takes two. What is this? Just the same old Netflix application. Yeah, I don't believe I'll find anything interesting this way. Maybe this in beta. Maybe this can be a interesting place to look. It seems like a beta feature here. But I don't believe that I want to test it right now. Okay. So, no domains are found. Subfinder. 0 domains. That's weird. /d netflix.com. Let me write it again. Just on netflix.com subdomain. Main domain, main record. Another thing that you can try to go dark is to search for specific pages, for specific words actually. For example, I know that they use this beta to name anything that maybe it's a feature that will not be tested right now. So I can try to enroll beta, for example, beta. And take a look if you can find something different than the main application in this subdomain. But not appearing anything here. Just the same applications. Okay. Admin. There's something interesting here. Actually, something really interesting. There is a admin. Oh, it says desk. Another tip that I can show you is that I can help you is to not mess around with these third-party applications. I know that back to help that this application appears to be on the Netflix domain, for example, this, but when I open it, it instantly redirects me to the Zendesk platform. Zendesk platform is not something that we want to test because mostly third-party applications, as it's telling us here in the scope, third-party websites are system hosted by non-Netflix entities are out of scopes. So when you see that this kind of things happen, this kind of redirection happens, most of the times you don't want to mess it. Okay. So although it's a good thing, I think in the first place, not something that I will be looking at. Let me do this captcha. Phone number admin appears to be just a misunderstanding thing here, not something actually actually useful. Okay. Okay. So let me see this finder here again. It's weird. It's not getting any Netflix subdomains for us here. Maybe if I use another tools, netflix.com. Maybe just get our URLs. Go here, can't find anything first. Nice. So let me open my Burp Suite here. Let's take a look into something interesting using Burp. My day-to-day bug bounty is basically that I find applications that I want to test, open my Burp Suite and start looking into the things that happen in the application behind the scenes. So there's nothing magical in my day-to-day routine. I just use my Burp Suite to find anything that is interesting. I take a look into all the endpoint calls that are being made in our application, and with that, I started to understand what I can do, what can I achieve, some kind of good attack scenario, some kind of maybe an exploit. So this is how I day-to-day my routine as a bug bounty works. Okay, let me take a look if the tool has already opened here. Let me take a look if there is no sensitive information either before I reopen my screen. Okay, let me reopen. So here's my burp. I don't use the burp professional, I use the burp committed edition. It works for me, and I don't believe I need anything more than that. What I like to do while I'm doing this test is to set my scope for the scopes of the targets that I want. I usually use the wildcard, so netflix.com. And yes, I don't want to get anything that is not in scope. Netflix.net, and I believe just that I want to test right now. With that, I connect my browser to my proxy. That I don't believe it's actually installed in this browser version, so let me get here, proxy. Proxy is the, okay, I need to actually to allow it to be used in the private windows. Let me get the private window, the extension here, just a minute. So what I need to do is manage my extensions, get it working in the private here. Let me see. A minute. Let me just open anything here. Now I believe that it works. Let me get my browser extensions. Oh, there's no browser extension, but now there's no problem. So you can just actually install here. Nice. So proxy, if you don't know, is just the extension to help us to configure multiple proxies that I can easily select when to use and when to not use my proxy in this in this browser. So I'll configure here the Burp proxy, host name is localhost, HTTP, and the port is 8080. When I hit save, now when I open my extensions, I have this Burp extension here, this Burp proxy. If I click it here, choose Burp, now I already use Burp Suite proxies here. So let me take a look. I'll run for anything that is netflix.net here. When I open, I need to see the traffic here in my proxy. It's not appearing. Maybe I configured something wrong here. Oh, that is it. I forgot to mark this option include all subdomains. Now, if I refresh this page, it may appear here or not. Okay, what I did wrong. Burp prox 8080 part is correct. Netflix.com. Let me see if Netflix. Okay, netflix.com is appearing. Maybe I have some typo here. Netflix.net. Netflix.net. Okay, now it is working. Maybe I had some typo there. The first thing that I want to test is this authentication page. This is the authentication page that it's used for authenticating in all internal apps from Netflix. So if I take a look in netflix.net and let me try to access anything, not this one, anything that appears to be internal to or things that are was not supposed to be accessible publicly, it will redirect me to this sign page. So let me take a look if I find something. Let's check for admin again. Administrative, not anything there on. Text off. Okay. Okay. What is this? JFrog. That's weird. What is this JFrog here? JFrog for solutions in DevOps and security. That's really interesting. Let me change the page here. I can also navigate. I don't like that's where we were. Yeah, I don't know either. What is this UI here? I'm trying to understand what we call that. Okay. That does not appear so that I believe that we won't have anything sensitive here. I believe that Netflix won't actually allow you to navigate for things like that if it was supposed to be sensitive. But also I want to take a look, understand what is it. I have no idea what is that. Let's take a look at the actual application factory Netflix. JFrog builds the software supply chain solutions provided to an end-to-end pipeline control binaries are built to production. Okay, so this is expected to have this index enabled, but was it expected for me to have access to anything like that? Internally dependencies. Yeah. Was this supposed to be public? Now I'm intrigued. I'm really intrigued. Let me actually remove this from the screen for just a minute. Just to ensure that this is not something that's supposed to be sensitive. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. While I testing this, because if it was supposed to be not public, this is a problem, and I want to leak this problem. Just 1 minute. 1 minute, and I'll be back. Okay, sorry for that. Yeah, this appears to be actually public for what I looked here. There's no really problem. This should be public. Just it's just used for sharing public things, not anything sensitive. But weird. Actually, never heard about this. Yes. JFrog here. Really weird. Here it redirects me to the JFrog. And yeah, repository for storing built software artifacts like Docker images and etc. Yeah, there's a possibility. Maybe this place can have anything that can be interesting. Maybe you can take a look if any of these binaries here that are being stored, anything of this code that are being shared here can have anything that is sensitive, and information and secrets, anything that was not supposed to be here. But at first sight, I don't believe that it's anything problematic. Anything that was supposed for us to not see. But maybe a good place to start looking. Maybe if you want to test Netflix, this is a good place that you can start searching for any leakage of data. You won't test for, because I believe this is a third-party application. I wouldn't test any vulnerability itself, like XSS, like DOR or anything, but what I would look is to take a look into all these files, all these things that are being exposed here, and take a look if I can find anything anything that can be sensitive, API key exposure, anything that can be related to that. But yeah, that is for what I asserted here is built for artifacts and secret distribution leader. Okay, but this was interesting, really interesting. Yeah. This is the thing that Google searches allows you to find. You can take a look for the subdomain, start looking for keywords that you can find anything that will be helpful, anything that will be like what I'm trying to say is to find anything that can be malicious here, anything that can be hidden, and to test it, to take a look in there. Yeah, the other things with the admin word seems like not anything that is interesting to us. Let me take a look into Docker, for example. I believe that I will find many of these JFrog here. Maybe there's something that, let me remove the jobs keyword here, because I don't want to sign for a job in Netflix. Infrastructure, internal. What can be internal here in Netflix? Again, the JFrog again. Not one to look. Files, charter, audit talk. Maybe. This seems like maybe was supposed to be internal documents, but I don't believe there's anything that matters here. And again, it's the ER Netflix document. I don't want to look into IR. So these are just a lot of the things that we're looking for. What is that? Roll down. Yes, just some premise policy. Okay. So let's get back into this authentication. Let's get back. I have my inspector here in this other side. I want to look into the console, for example. Username, type of test, anything random, Netflix, admin, netflix.com. It redirected me to another place. It is using an OpenID. I can say it's that is using OpenID protocol. So what happens when I click here? Maintain me connected. Okay. Admin Netflix. It sends this request. and nothing at all in the response, just a normal HTML file. And let me look into the cookies. The cookies is just storing the email that I used. And login, nothing really useful. What happens when I try? Okay, no access. Let me check. Let me add anything random here just to check if I can enumerate something. And let's take a look into burps. So challenge answer. This is my passcode. Identity. This identity is when I send my email. Okay, it sends this request. And actually a bunch of meaningful things here. Not anything that can leak any kind of information for us, maybe. Right, send your repeater. Let me try admin. Not appear anything different. Marker. J-session ID. Activate. Yeah. Nothing at all. Nothing at all that is interesting. Okay. Redirect array. It's using this callback in the redirect. Let me see what happens when I open this callback in my browser. Error, invalid request. You may have pressed the back button, but pressed it during OK. Nothing here for us. Let's take a look into the burp response. And it's just a normal, regular HTML file. Get element by ID, error description element, text contents are okay. It's getting this error description. Debug elements. Let's log out here at URL. Oh, it's redirecting us here for other places. Callback realms. Error description. Error description. Where does this error description come from? It's coming from here. Maybe if I get this error description here in this S23. No. This is also optimistic. No. I believe that maybe because this is interesting. This is a maybe interesting point. As you can see, this error description here is being added in the DOM of our page by using this inner HTML tag here. I don't know if everybody saw my recent video, my past video about XSS. This is a clear example of how a hacker can achieve DOM XSS here. If the attacker can control this other variable error description, he can input anything like error description equals script, for example, and this will be in fact rendered in our application as in HTML because it's using this inner HTML tag here. I can simulate the compartment of this. let me create a fake example, but in Netflix page that maybe can show you what I mean. Let me remove some options here from the request, from my interceptor, and I don't want to intercept any sockets here. So if I click on intercept, let me refresh the page. I want to intercept the response of this request. Let me first. Now I'll modify this variable here, this code here. I want to remove anything around here, and I want to put the error description variable. Let me add to here directly. I want to add that this will be the response. It will include the callback you are always match here, but also it will add a script alert one here. Although this is pure theoretical, not something that will happen in any actual bug bounty program. It's not something you will report. Just I'm adding this here just so you can understand what I mean about no access. But imagine if in this scenario this error description variable was not being set in the code here, but actually it was gotten by the query parameter there. So if I fire this request and it didn't reflect my code, maybe I did something wrong, but okay. Script callback. Oh yes. Oh, it stopped here. My code had probably something wrong. Let me refresh again. Do the same thing. Do intercept response of the request, and let's edit it again. I want to remove all these things here. Okay. And now I'll be putting that I want to, let's edit here. Again, this thing, script / script. What is wrong with this code? And let's just allow it to close anywhere. Let's do this way. This way. So if I intercept, go further. Yeah, almost. Almost sorry. What the fuck? I'm starting to get mad about this thing. Let's try just one more time so I can show you what I mean. Okay. So again, remove this, add this, add the variable that I need, and script. Alert 1. Okay. Now I believe it will work. If not, okay, I give up. But this is how I don't access as can happen. Nice. So what I can continue here. Let me see if the get our roles finished my job here. Let's take a look if anything interesting appears.